saying on some kids.
Whenever you're ready, just let me know. I'll start recording.
No, you let me know.
No, you're the one that's fresh off a loss.
I'm the best in the league. I can go whenever. I'm a professional.
Okay. All right, go ahead and start it up.
I'm not ready.
Okay.
It's too easy. Is it started?
Yeah.
I hate the way it started. It's like 10 minutes. I don't know that it started. And I'm just sitting here.
I mean, you said to start it.
Welcome back to the Bigs Podcast on a Sunday afternoon. Slept through the workday yesterday. Sorry about it, fans. Back to the booth with DJ Bobby Boo and
Rosebud Delicious.
play the song.
Four big guys, and they bust on my eyes. They eat my ass just like apple pie. If they keep fucking me like this, I might just die. They pipe my booty till I cry.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead and start us off after that.
You don't like that song? I favorited that on the talk, just in case we needed a song. Thought you'd appreciate it.
No, it was kind of weird.
What part was weird? Tell me that.
The lyrics.
What's weird about him?
It had a good beat. The guy had some decent flow. 6 out of 10.
Okay. That's pretty good. I think the song
Yeah,
is
it's
called
not pretty
Four
good.
Big Guys.
So we need 2 more stars.
Yeah. I don't know any big guys though.
You're talking to him, bud.
No, guys. I know a big guy. There's a difference there.
I'm that guy, pal.
But so I wanted to start us off today talking about something I'm very, very passionate about.
Which is?
I forgot now. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Anyway, sponsored by Manscaped.
Did you pull a sponsor finally for us?
No.
Hmm.
I'm.
Did you want to restart the podcast?
Do you want to restart the podcast?
What do you have on the list for today?
I don't have a list for today.
You didn't.
I only had a list one time.
You had an extra day to prepare.
Yeah, but I only have stuff. I'm like, dang, I want to talk about this.
Okay, what's one of those things?
I already talked about them
When?
on the last podcast.
Oh my
or
God.
maybe 2 ago.
So, did you want to restart?
You're a fucking comedian.
All right, what happened to you this week? How about that? We'll start with that.
I'll restart it now. You ruined the vibe.
Okay. Go and bring us back in.
Are we starting?
Yeah, I restarted
I feel like you didn't restart it.
it. All I have to do is hit stop and then record again. It just separates them
All
into
right.
the files.
Oh.
What are you doing?
All right, back here with take 2, live from the studio on a Sunday afternoon.
I love that.
Slept through the workday yesterday.
You were late by one day and you forgot how to do this. But go ahead.
You just called my intro again.
My bad. Take three.
All right, take 3, back from the studio on a Sunday afternoon. Slept through the workday yesterday, but here we are. back into the booth with Bobby Boo and
Rosebud Delicious.
play the track.
Four big guys, and they bust on my eyes. They eat my ass just like apple pie. If they keep fucking me like this, I might just.
All right,
They
that's
pop my
good.
booty till I cry. Four.
All right. What do you got for me today?
My favorite football team just won.
Who was that?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Why is that your favorite team?
Because they have
Football.
colors on their jerseys and they wear helmets.
All right. And who did they play against? The New England Raptors.
No.
Montreal Woodleafs.
And who's the quarterback of the Montreal Woodleafs?
That would be James Irving.
Yep. James Irving, one of the best of all time.
Yep.
See that
And
touchdown he threw?
What's up?
See that touchdown he threw?
That's all four of them.
Yeah, and who's his favorite target this game?
Daquan Washington.
Yes. Possible future Hall of Famer. Great
Yeah.
season.
He's looking like he was a 3rd round draft pick 2 years ago. Didn't have a very good rookie year. But he has heart, you know. If he was playing Guilty Gear, he'd be maxed out on heart.
It's all about the comeback, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of comebacks, we're back. And I have a couple of shows coming up.
Oh, I thought we were restarting again.
God damn it. Take 7.
We're going to have an hour-long session of just 5-minute takes of us restarting the podcast. Look forward to it.
I have something for you.
Maybe
How do you feel about overtime? Like working? How do you feel about overtime?
Depends. I'm used to it now, but I can't really say I'm fond of it. I like the extra pay.
Yeah, because it's funny. Every time in the current industry, every time there's extra work and I tell people, oh, I'm working extra today, they're like, oh, well, at least you'll get that extra money. I'd rather have my sanity than money. I hate when people say, at least you'll get that extra money. I don't want to be here for a minute longer than I have to be. Okay.
Well, yeah, because every
Stop
minute,
telling me about the money.
do you not like money?
I love money.
So if you weren't getting that money, would you just take the overtime for free?
No.
Oh,
I'd walk out.
then you
They have to pay you extra.
No, they don't.
I don't want the overtime at all.
Big Five does not pay
Quite
overtime.
frankly, I do not want the overtime.
Over 8
at all.
hours, Big Five does not pay overtime.
I think the only people that don't pay overtime is like salaries.
I just told you someone that doesn't do it. If you're part time,
isn't that like illegal?
You're not getting overtime. Just a heads up on that.
Well, yeah, you have to be over 40 hours, right?
Depends. Sometimes some people do over 8. Big Five is not one of those people. I've worked.
Well, yeah, over 8. I think it works over 8, but if you're not 40,
Oh, I'm
you have
not
to have 40
yet,
total.
Bud. I'm not 40 yet, bud.
Basically, bud. Are you 39 and a half?
Not there. And you don't need to dox
Oh,
me.
that's I don't think you can do that though. Like I don't think the 8 thing exists. If you work part-time and you get over 8 hours, I don't think that exists. I'm just kidding. I think you have to be over 40.
What? What am I doing?
Pretty sure that's
man?
how it works.
You know what the worst thing ever is? The split shift. Because you don't get the overtime. You just go in for a few hours, come back, because you clock out, come back in, and then you work another few hours.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
That middle of the day. That's a spirit breaker because you realize you could just be home.
Well, yeah,
not working.
because I've realized that like that's one thing with overtime too. A lot of times I get hit with overtime now, and it's like unexpected overtime. Like if you tell me straight up that I'm gonna have to be there extra long, I can mentally prepare for it. That's why I can never do the split shift.
Yeah.
Once you like, if I go there and then leave, I'm mentally clocked out. I do not want to be back for at least 24 hours.
Oh, that's one thing I hated at Big Five too, was that last job that last shift was like, I'll close and then open the next day. When you close within 12 hours of you opening, it does something to your spirit, and it puts you in a bad place because it's like you go home and it's like I have to sleep for 6 of these, and I'm gonna have to spend an hour and a half getting ready for the next shift. So that's already, you're down to 4.5 hours left, and you just are sitting like you get home, you sit there, and you're like, I might as well not even do anything because it's just gonna make me want to kill myself. That's
In game.
yeah, in game. My bad. Retail's the worst, dude. I'll never, I'll never work retail again. My kids will never work retail. Like people say, what is it? Fast food or food service sucks. I
I
don't
think
know,
it
man.
depends.
I don't know. It's a slow burn type of misery, if that makes sense. Like food service, you're just miserable throughout the entire thing, but like you expect it. You don't like retail's that one that hits like 3 years in, and you're like, what am I doing with my life? And then you just start, and then you like as you clock out, and then you go cry in your car for 10 minutes before you get home, so you don't have to show your loved ones that you're just having a small breakdown.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about working, man. And that's why y'all should subscribe to the podcast today so I don't have to work.
Patreon coming soon. I'm tired of working.
Be the title of the Patreon.
Yeah, I don't have that set up. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I don't know. That makes sense though. And like you can tell how miserable something is by the fact that I wonder what I don't have an actual number, but at least when I worked in a restaurant, there was 95% of people are on drugs, allegedly.
Yeah.
And they needed to get through their shift.
Yep.
They all have like the pick me up because they hate their life.
I have a version of that myself that I used to have at when I worked in retail. Because there's a dollar store. My version of doing drugs at work was I would go to the dollar store and just spend like $6 on chocolate and then binge eat it in the office as I hated myself. And that's basically like that's how fat guys get through, because it's that's my destructive habit is binge eating. So like if you can do that at work, it's essentially the same. It's kind of like drinking at work, except it's delicious.
Yeah, at least you're getting a positive out of it.
The crushing diabetes and self-loathing.
Positive short term.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like tasty.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm sure they're doing that for the the meth or whatever it is,
Yeah, I guess they get a little pick me up when
But
they develop the crippling addiction and stuff. But that's a tale for a different day.
I mean, what are you really living if you don't have some sort of crippling addiction?
I was listening to someone talk that you are. What?
Just ask a question. Yeah, I was listening to someone talk.
Well,
it wasn't me you were listening to talk. Okay.
It was working into what you were saying.
Oh, my bad. Go for it. Sorry, my chair. To the listeners out there, I'm sorry. I apologize. My chair is buckling under the weight of my immense obesity. And it's that's what, if you hear that, it's not a trapped animal. It's my chair fighting for its life. But go ahead. You were listening. You were listening to someone talk.
Yeah, they said that technically everyone's addicted to something.
Wow.
Like life is an addiction. Because even though it's kind of stupid, you could argue that we're addicted to water because we need it, or food because we need it.
Yeah, I would say that's stupid. Go ahead.
But then you actually look into it in life. I'm just saying, if someone says they don't have an addiction, you could just say that. But then you look at people like everyone does something. You know what I mean? Like there's the gamblers. They're the people who love sports. There's
like
the gamers. I was all of those things allegedly. I don't know. Like you could just break it down to everyone that has like a hobby. They're kind of addicted to something.
Some people are addicted to illegal things, like
some people are addicted to ketamine.
Like
present
preacher. Priests are addicted to illegal things.
Priests?
Yeah, and the word of God. So it's kind of like a yin and yang situation. You know?
Do you want to elaborate?
I mean, have you ever heard of child sex trafficking rings?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me tell you about the Catholic Church. I have a hypothesis, actually.
Go for it.
I think back in the inception of of Catholicism, it was actually just a cover group for child sex trafficking. And the ones we catch are just small little like outshoots, right? People that get sloppy. Now, I'm not going to say there's not people that don't believe it, but as a start, that's what it was at. It was started as.
Why do you think it started as that? What crafted that theory?
Oh, they like kids. They like touching kids. I just went with that. I said, what would be the worst thing possible? And I said, well, it's hard to find things that are worse than touching kids, you know? So then I was like, well, they're probably not getting worse than that. Here's another theory I got, okay?
Okay.
I got a couple for you. All right, so this one, I got a theory about the coronavirus. Okay?
Careful, bud.
And what I think, so you know how, like, around the same time that all these righties started moving, or sorry, these lefties started moving from California to other states. I think the coronavirus was a ploy to dilute red states. You with me?
Yeah.
So if you look, like, most metropolitan areas are going to be typically blue. That's why, like, Phoenix votes blue. Most of California, New York, a lot of these metropolitan areas, blue. Now, what do you do with a pandemic that spreads quickly through people? Well, you release it in these big cities, gives people, and then it becomes endemic, right?
Okay.
Once it becomes endemic, then people just have to live with it. Well, it's supposedly more lethal than the flu, so now people are dying from the flu and coronavirus and everything else.
Well, hang on. Hold your theory. Isn't that kind of weird that, like, a lot of the times it has happened and there's people that tested negative that have been sick and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. But why does no one just get sick anymore, really? Like, if people just get sick now, it's just instantly the corona most of the time.
Yeah. Well, there's been a
And
crazy drop in flu numbers too. But it's also, you got to look at this, like, everyone's wearing masks and social distancing. If you just did that during flu season every year, then you would probably see a natural drop. But I don't.
Wait, and it's like,
go ahead.
There was a doctor, and I forgot. I don't know. Someone in the family asked them when they were getting a COVID test. I forget who it was, but someone asked them, "Do you ever just see anyone that's like regular sick anymore?" And the doctor literally straight up said, "No."
Well, I don't have a theory on that. Check back next week for my theory on that. And put it through the old grinder.
Be in the bonus episode.
Yeah, that'll be for patrons only. But anyway, so they're diluting red states. And this is obviously, Joe Biden's not here enough to do this. This is one of his handlers. Or the Mason. Did you know that my I don't know if I should be putting this on the pod. But...
Well, hang on then. Think maybe it's a Patreon exclusive.
But apparently my family in the past has had ties to the Freemasons.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
And I found out that I could be royalty.
Nice. Can I get a check?
Yeah, only from the patrons. Anyways.
Yes.
But I was thinking about that, like these secret societies and stuff like that. If I have ties, listen, heads up to any Freemasons listening. I have ties to you guys. If you need someone, I'm looking to do something cool. All right. So if you need to put a Freemason in Japan, just send me. We're all good. I'll do whatever you need to do. Blow up buildings.
In game.
Spread viruses.
In game.
In game, yeah. Do whatever you need to do.
He's talking about that popular game that the kids put on their phone where you can like create the diseases and spread them. I forget what
Fortnite.
it's called, but
Fortnite Mobile.
yeah, sure.
Just hit me up. I'll do whatever I need to do. Okay. Because it's kind of cool. Being part of a secret society would be cool. Because I want to just know the inner workings. I want to be a top dog of a secret society.
I don't. I want to make above average income, not work, stay home, do whatever I want, and just be blind to everything that's really going on in the world.
Anyway, next theory. Have you heard that the Euphrates River is drying up?
I don't even know what the Euphrates River is.
Let me tell you something about that. In Revelations, there's a part of it that says, in the end times, the Euphrates will dry up and allow the armies of someone to walk through it. Now, I've been saying we're living through Revelations for years now. Okay. And this is just another sign. And what I'm thinking is, we're getting closer and closer. If anyone sees a woman and a dragon standing next to each other, you should be worried. Okay?
I just saw one.
Where'd you see it? Huh? Where'd you see it?
Fortnite.
Oh, okay.
So we're good.
But it's just one more sign. One more sign that we're coming to end times here. And I'm thinking the Christians got it right. It's just more and more likely. Because they said some weird shit's going to happen all in sequence. And it's all happening. Okay? So grab your Bibles, grab your kids, start reading it. All right? That's what I'm saying. Don't go to the Catholics.
If you want to.
See Theory 1. Don't go to the Catholics. Go to Christians. Okay? I haven't read the Quran. They left one on my door. But apparently it was there for a month, but we don't use our front door. Okay? And what I'm saying is that...
Are you breathing so heavy?
Four big guys.
Man, isn't that like one of the things that they were talking about with like in mid Corona season when those giant like killer wasps showed up?
Yeah, one of those, like the
Like
four
isn't that like the
horsemen or whatever.
giant, yeah, like the locusts or something that they said would appear?
Yeah. Oh, the
Yeah.
cicadas or whatever.
I don't read the Bible. John, man.
Listen, if Trump isn't going to read the Bible, I'm not reading the Bible, okay? Trump knows what he's doing. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And thank you.
And that's why I believe hot pretzels should be handed out for free.
I got another theory, okay?
Hot pretzel sponsorships, you want to hit us up?
You should keep latex gloves around around your living space, okay? That way, if you actually shit yourself, you can just drop it on the floor, and then you take the latex gloves and shape it. If you have animals, shape it into smaller turds, okay? And then you can blame it on the animals, and you don't have to clean it up.
That's weird that you just said that, because I didn't. No, I'm kidding. Because I was just listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how you should try to go next to your toilet and just shit on the ground. It's very hard for your brain to do.
What? Wait, they want you to
Go ahead, everyone. Go try this shit on the ground challenge.
Wait, so you go next to the toilet?
Yeah. You have to go next to the toilet and then just try to shit on the ground next to the toilet.
Huh.
Shout out the Chuckle Sandwich podcast. I'm pretty sure that's where I got
Chuckle
that from.
Sandwich?
Yeah, it has like some YouTubers and stuff.
Which ones?
Jay Schlatt
Who?
is the one I know it from. He's like, he used to be a
Did he say
Minecrafter, but
that?
now he's kind of like phasing out of that. Yeah.
No.
I forget.
They're for
I forgot the other ones.
Chuckle Sandwich. Shout out to Chuckle Sandwich. Sponsored today's episode. But anyway, those are my theories for today.
So what's the deal? What do you mean? What's the deal with that river? Is it actually?
Oh. I can't remember if it's the Euphrates and another one that are drying up right now, but I know for sure the Euphrates. I haven't looked into it enough yet. I just heard that they were drying up.
Is it like something that's causing it, or is it just happening?
Probably global warming.
Well, that doesn't exist.
Okay. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, whatever, stupid. It literally doesn't exist. Alex Jones told me that.
Is the
This-
Earth
this
is it
stuff's
hot
just
out right
coming
now?
back.
Is it hot out right now? Tell me that. Is it hot out?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking when I went outside and it was like supposed to be a warmer part of the season and it was still cold outside and I was like, yeah, global warming doesn't exist. How does winter still happen? Losers dunked. Theory disproved. We're all gonna be all right.
That's what we've been having. Like, it was like last year we had some. Well, the argument is that it's weather isn't indicative of climate or something like that. Like, yeah,
a
nice
stupid
goalpost
argument.
moving liberals.
Well, actually, I was in the Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan podcast,
Okay.
and he was saying something about how if like the temperature on the Earth heats up and the ice melts, then the prehistoric carbon comes up or something like that, and that's okay because we're carbon life forms.
Four big guys. And they bust on my eyes.
And you know what else?
What? Go for it.
The world used to be he was saying the world used to be the like lush jungle looking type beat. And then
Oh yeah.
So
Sahara
then-
used to be a jungle.
so then the trees and stuff would have more carbon to eat up. And what do trees and plant life grow off of? They eat carbon.
Oh yeah.
And then they release
They don't eat what? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Anyways, just keep
they
going.
do
Just keep
that.
going.
They do that. So then the plants, more plants eating. Ooh, we eating. That's them.
Okay.
And then they start going, and they start releasing oxygen. Therefore, it's good for the
Holy
planet.
shit! I got a new theory. I just crafted it in my head. Okay. Remember?
4 guys.
4 big guys. No. Okay. Here it is. You ready?
Okay.
What if?
Wrong. And let me tell you why
4
you're wrong.
No. Okay. Remember what I was telling you, right?
About the church touching people.
No, this is before that when you were talking to me about oxygen killing us. I was like, oh yeah, you're technically
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Technically right because the oxidation of the body, blood, whatever it is.
Guys, he's talking about this thing that I saw that I repeated to him that said, the aliens don't visit us on Earth because oxygen is poison and they don't want to like risk it coming to Earth. Now continue.
Okay, so what do we breathe?
Oxygen.
Well, it's a lot of stuff, but oxygen's one of them. Okay.
Okay.
Is it killing us slowly?
Technically,
Okay. What produces that oxygen?
plants,
Now,
I think.
are we at war with plants right now? Are they trying to kill us? Because they're eating what we put out. Maybe they're like we farm plants, right? Maybe they're farming us for oxygen.
Yeah, the circle of life type beat. I'm okay with it though.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm thinking I'm going
Okay.
vegan. Think I'm only gonna go eat plants. That's our natural enemy. You guys want to talk about predators? Okay, look, they're farming us. Look how long plants live, right? Look at trees. Look how long trees live, right? They live for what, hundreds of years sometimes.
Yeah.
They're just farming us. The trees and plants are our natural enemies. What I'm saying is start forest fires. Go out now, burn things down.
In game. Yeah. Well, that's another thing. That's another thing that I saw. Was 4 big guys. No, another thing that I saw was that what if humans weren't supposed to exist?
Okay, keep going. Sometimes I feel like that about myself. That's more on like a micro level than a macro level.
Well, humans weren't supposed to exist because if you think about it, everything around us is trying to kill us throughout time. The animals, like predators, try to fight each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we're slowly just dying anyway from everything.
Yeah,
So what if humans weren't supposed to? If we were supposed to exist, then why are we dying?
I think that's because the original sin right? Because death wasn't a thing before man, is what the Bible says.
Whatever, sinner.
So what I'm saying is, grab your Bibles, grab your kids, and start praying, and burn down
In-game.
forests.
In-game. This is not financial advice.
No, it's life advice. You want to live? This is life advice.
In-game. In-game. He's talking about role-playing games. Go ahead, go buy a board and some dice.
Oh, speaking of, shout out to role-playing games.
Okay.
You never hear about people. It's so funny. You never hear about how busy people are until you try to organize a role playing game group. Everyone's like, yeah, I don't really do shit. And then all of a sudden it's like, you got to organize. Oh, you don't have to do anything? All right, what do you want to do? You want to play D&D or something? Yeah, I gotta get
I actually have to get my toenail plucked. So
yeah, I gotta wash my hair 7 days
my
a
ass
week.
hair.
Yeah, everyone's got plans. It's pretty interesting, actually. You'll have like the 3 people. Like if it's a group of 4 players, 1 DM, right? You'll have a group of 3 dedicated people,
God.
and there's one person that's like the not dedicated, so you have to work around them constantly. And then they call out last minute. They leave through it. Just don't make the commitment, okay? That's what I'm saying. Just don't make the commitment. Because I would rather just DM for the three dedicated people. You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to get a commitment out of anyone, really.
Yeah, people ruin everything, honestly.
Why'd you leave me?
That's what I realized. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty fucking sick. Of
Okay.
like, besides my,
Oh, sorry. I was
besides,
gonna agree with
I
you.
thought you were muted. I've just been thinking, like, out of like all the friends you make in a lifetime and all the people you meet, isn't it weird how like there's a couple good ones in every situation, but most people are just shitty.
Yeah.
Why isn't everyone just absolutely poggers? Like, yeah, boy.
I don't know. Upbringing.
Well, yeah, but there can't be. It's actually probably a nutty number. Obviously, like, what would that be called? Like self-selected number, not like statistical, I guess. I don't know. But like, probably 8 out of 10 people are shitty compared to like the 2 out of 10. And that's probably a high. It's probably more like 9 out of 10 people are shitty.
Do you think? Okay. So do you think these people would thrive in someone they're more closely aligned with, like, because it's what the 5 personality traits, like openness, industriousness, conscientiousness, stuff like that. Do you think it's because you just don't align with those people? So maybe like in a different friend group, maybe they would be less shitty because they work more like. Oops, sorry. Let me see if I can look it up.
Well, I think part of it's like people are so okay with like switching up the flow of everything all the time. Like once I get into if I have a friend or if I care for someone else, like I'm okay with that. There's not really a ton of desire for me to go out and chase other people. But
Yeah.
people are so okay. It's almost like nomadic friends. They're okay with like switching up
That's a good way to
because
put
they
it.
just switch all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know.
Who's like, well, you have your one friend, we'll call him what, K? We'll call him K.
Calvin Klein. Yeah.
Calvin Klein, yep. Calvin. Is that like the best friend you've ever had, right?
I don't think I knew it during like most of the time. But after like hindsight's 2020, yes.
Okay.
Like now I realize it after everything that's went down, but I don't think I appreciate it at the time as such.
That's kind of a weird thing to think about, actually. Thinking about like one person in your life is going to be your best friend, right? Like to overall best friend, and you're going to meet them, and you probably won't know until you either die with them in your life, or after you lose them, you won't know that was your best friend of all time. Of all time.
I don't think you lose your best friend of all time.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think that happens.
But well, let's say they die or something, right?
Oh, okay.
Like
maybe.
or it doesn't even have to be leaving. Maybe you do something to drive them out of your life because you're just such a neurotic,
Yeah.
disgusting
My previous
person.
theory is now disproven.
Which
you
theory?
can lose your best friend.
Okay. Dunked. Anyway.
Insta dunk.
But no,
I laid it up. You put it down.
like, because you have a peak of your life, you know what I mean? But you don't know when it's going to happen. So, like, eventually you're going to hit that peak, and then the rest of your life is downhill. But like living like that would obviously just drive you insane because you would just be constantly like looking for the next peak, and like every peak would have to go higher. But it's like at some point, like it's the same things. Like at one point in your life, like obviously before you die or something, you're gonna tell someone you love them for the last time you ever like in your life, or you're gonna see something like you'd never know when that's gonna happen. You're gonna see someone for the last time in your life, and you may not know that's happening.
True.
Pretty crazy. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't think life's like that. Like, obviously, what you just said is true.
Mm.
Like the how you peak and then everything else is downhill. I think you kind of look at it like a classic English class plot chart.
Okay.
Go ahead and pop one of those up on screen.
Okay. Plot chart. Go ahead. I'll pop it up one more.
So the build up to the climax is like your peak, your the best part of the story, whatever. I think there's a lot of climaxes that you have in life. So you're gonna hit multiple rising actions, but after you rising action hit the climax, there is a falling action, and that could be the end of that story. But I think people can have multiple stories.
Because your falling action can be like, depending how high that peak is, your falling action could be better than entire people's lives. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, let's say your build up is a company. Your climax is getting like a Fortune 500 like company type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your falling action, depending on how the people that can go gamble it all away or something crazy like that. But your falling action could be living off the rest of the money that you just worked to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which then in turn could be another rising action going on like a trip or something, spending time with family, stuff like that.
Right. That's what I think I'm in. I think I'm in my rising action right now. I mean, like leaving my last job, which made me hate life, was probably one of the better decisions I made in life. Right now, it doesn't feel that way because it's just such a tough part. But I think like hitting that peak will come after this. I don't know how long that rising action is going to be, but like I don't expect it to be short.
Yeah.
But making that decision is the only reason that rising action started, right?
Yeah. Or
no,
a conflict.
Here, yeah, there you go. It's a conflict. The would you rather hit it early in life, like your climax, or are you trying to hit it late or mid or later in life?
I think I'm. Oh wait, the climax. So the best part. I guess it depends what the climax is. Like I said, I'd probably hit it like mid
Like
life.
40, 45?
Mm,
Or like
at
30?
this weight, I'm not living that long.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah, probably like in 30s. But if it's that's something else I don't get. If let's say your climax is the big money company,
Mm-hmm.
who wants to have? Obviously, you want to have a bunch of money eventually, so you can do whatever. But who really wants to have, in an ideal world, your money all in like your 65s? Like if you set up a retirement thing,
Yeah. That's what I don't know.
you can't do anything at that point. Like, so who cares?
Yeah.
You can, but you can't.
No, I
It's
know what
not
you
like
mean.
being in your 30s or 40s or even 20s.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point. Like, that's like the retirement funds. Like, I feel like you shouldn't be focusing on. Like, that's one thing my grandmother, I think, made a good call on was she was like, she's not leaving anyone anything. Like, she said she's not going to leave us any money, right? What she's doing instead is like she's spends the money that she has saved up on like taking trips and stuff like that. She's like, so instead of like, oh, here's $100,000 for each of you or something, right? I don't know what it's actually going to be, or what it would have actually been. She paid for like when we went on that cruise a while back. Like, she just paid for that for everyone. She's like, I'd rather spend that money and spend time with you guys now than, you know, I mean, I told her I'd just rather have the bag, but you know, the cruise is cool too.
That's what I think. I think a lot of people, if they do just wait till they're 65s and retirement things, it's not, at that point, the cool shit in life, it's not really for you anymore. It's who you pass it on to. So you saved up your entire life for someone else, basically.
Yeah, but I think isn't that it also might be that we aren't parents yet. So like you don't really it's hard to see it that way.
A lot of people start their, I mean, if you're gonna make a not too like high price stuff and take out of your paycheck, if you start in like your 20s, that's when you'll have enough, like a shit ton of money. I think if you start at like 20 exactly, I was watching something with 401ks or like Roth IRAs and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
that you could have a person putting in like the minimum amount could have like $1 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just seems like a waste of time. I want to get rich quick scheme. Where my pyramid schemers at?
That's what I want too. I just want the easy way out. That's why I buy guns.
In game.
In game, yeah. But it's
That's right. This podcast will take us there. Then we'll make a Patreon goal of $6,000, and we're taking a trip to Japan, boys.
$25,000.
We're vlogging
And I'll
it.
kill myself on stream. Get on that Patreon.
In game.
Facebook Live.
Yeah, he's on Facebook
Get your
Gaming.
screen
Is what he's talking
recordings
about.
ready.
Facebook Gaming is what he's
I'm
talking
gonna
about.
blow my brains out in 4K, everybody.
On GTA 5 roleplay. Yes.
That's like these. Have you seen these questions like, "Oh, would you hit your girlfriend for $1 million?" Yes.
Call me Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Actually, who would be a better example? Call me who's that dude that hit Rihanna? Chris Brown, Chris Breezy.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Like
I woke up Chris Breezy, as they say.
why wouldn't you take care of it? Like $1 million, right? $1 million isn't that much. $1 million isn't that much to people that don't have or isn't that much to people that have $1 million. Okay.
True.
That's life changing for other people. So you could pay off with that. You could pay off mom's house, buy yourself a house, pay off all your debt, pay for Ashley's schooling, pay for your schooling, whatever you end up wanting to do, right? And still have a lot of money left over to live off of.
That's the thing. I don't think you go about it like that right away. I think you win the $1 million and you just chill for a second. Because realistically, if you put that $1 million into an account, I was listening to a football player talk about this one time. It was like on their preseason show where they follow around football teams. He was talking about it one time, and these are guys with expendable millions of dollars.
Yep.
You could put $1 million into an account that's like getting interest, and then you could live off the interest, even if it's just $1 million.
Okay.
Like you could make someone's yearly earnings off the interest. So I think you just chill for a second. You might be able to let it stack, and then after a year, you'll have enough to at least survive another year. Obviously, there's some stuff that you might want to. I'm pretty sure it's something like $100,000 of sitting in an account after a year. Like that's how much you're gonna make, like higher than the average person's yearly income.
Okay.
And if not that, then maybe it's like 6%, and you're talking like 60,000. So
That's
it's
what I need
just
to be.
something like, yeah, exactly. It's just something that you could just be like chilling off of. Most people think about getting money right away, and they're just like instantly gonna drop it on paying stuff off. I mean, I get it.
I would definitely
But,
drop some money. I would buy a small house. First off, I would buy a small house. Something to just live in. You know what I mean? pay off any debt I have, and immediately stop working, and then I would put it into that account. And it might only be $750,000, but I'd rather, I'll live a little bit meager, just the idea of not having any sort of financial responsibility, like outside, well, obviously a financial responsibility, but like, because you have to pay property taxes and whatnot, but not having to worry about paying anything for a long time sounds nice.
Yeah.
Because if
I
it's
don't know.
like,
I guess for people with like a ton of debts and still a bunch of money on a house payment, it'd be good to ball out real quick.
well, because like you're gonna pay how much in overtime? Like if you, and that's why you pay less on a house if you, because your APRs whatever on your mortgage. So like paying it off immediately would sort of kind of pay for itself eventually. Like you could almost like take that and add that to what you would be making each month or something. I don't know, but I don't know. It just that I think the removal of that burden of like stress on financials would do more for you in the long run as far as like health, like mental health or like even physical health because of the effects of stress. Then I mean, I don't know, because you could just sit on it and make it, but I don't know, the idea of like I could literally just leave, like being unshackled from the material or whatever, would just seems nice.
I mean, technically, if we're talking the 6% of a million is 60,000, even if you spend half of it right away, you could still get like 30,000 a year off of it with that theory, right?
Right.
So I don't know. It's
And
really
I'm
not
making it
that.
off less than 30 right now, So like,
Yeah,
yeah,
just depending on someone would do it. I don't know. I say I'd sit on it and whatever, but you never know how you are actually in the situation.
I guarantee if you're making $1 million, you're dropping some. You're getting yourself something,
But yeah, it also doesn't. It's not as good to compare it to those football guys because, like I said, that's someone who's signing a millions of dollars contract,
Right.
and he's telling you that you should be stacking up your money, at least putting away a chunk of it just to be making money on its own. So
Right.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, that makes sense. I'd like money.
Yeah, same. But that's not how it works.
It should be.
I just want my white privilege to kick into overdrive. Please.
Wait, you're right. Canceled.
All those things I was saying aren't okay to say.
So
That's the thing is like that's the unifying force behind most like a lot of like the majority and the minority, I guess, right? Would be broke people all hate life as much as other broke people. Not always, but
yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think that's always true, but
It's
yeah,
always true.
I mean overall, no, because if someone's making $30,000 or I don't know, $20,000 a year, but they're doing something that they love, then they say you never work a day.
who's doing something that they love that only makes 30K?
I don't know, selling seashells by the seashore.
Okay,
Sally's
true.
doing it.
True,
She's been
true.
killing it.
My bad.
She's been killing it for years.
Yeah, until Uncle Sam comes and pops her for I don't know, illegal farming of seashells or something, and she spends.
Until Peter Piper's pickle.
Hmm?
Until Peter's pickle. Ah!
That's like
Until the woodchuck business comes into town and all the sea life leaves.
that's that's one thing too is you have to worry about is like if you get a little bit too popular, then that's when the government comes looking. That's like the guys with the GameStop and AMC stuff. They were a little bit too successful, so people started calling in some favors, shutting things down.
Yeah, isn't that so funny that the big dogs started losing for once because some degenerates started something and then they still got to shut it down.
Yeah. Well, it's like the housing market right now. Like
Money never loses.
housing is an investment. like what other investment do you know is so like safe as housing? It's weird, right? Because it's like you had people that were buying houses complaining that they couldn't pay their mortgage because they wanted to um or they wanted to evict people because they couldn't pay their mortgage, and but they're evicting the people that can't pay their mortgage. It's like you're evicting someone for something that you can't do yourself. It's like we're all in the same boat. It's like these are the people, like the poor are going to eat the rich at the end of at the end of society. And I think that's where your like kind of how your morals have to be. It's like you kind of want to take care of these people a little bit. Like I understand wanting to make your own money and kind of shit on people, but you also have to worry about like you're not guaranteed success forever. If you're one of those people that just takes advantage of the poor, you better hope that you don't become one of those people. You better hope that you make it for the rest of your life. Because when it comes time that you need help, no one's going to want to help you. And the poor people would have been the ones that maybe help you because you know the other people like you are the ones that are trampling on them. So you're going to have to hope that they are look highly of you enough to help you out. And I think that's we're kind of coming to that. Well, because as the blue collar gets eaten by the white collar until the white collar fails, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I don't really know where I'm going with that, but it's eventually because that's go ahead.
It's a good point. I was just listening to someone talk, and they were like, it was someone I think that used to be a bigger time YouTuber, and then they kind of fell off or something, or at least not as relevant as they were. Because everyone has a lot of times there's a big YouTuber, they have the rise and fall, and you can maintain like a decent following, but it's not the same as when you're at your peak.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how there's always a new face. The person who fell off kind of was talking about there's always a new face in line.
Right.
So like you can't really get complacent or, do everything at once right when you make it to the top. Because there's always someone else in line for when you're not good enough anymore.
That's that's a good that's such a good microcosm of it too, the YouTube thing. It's like you better hope in that 15 minutes of fame or whatever that you build enough of a foundation, because you're not going to be able to fall back on the loose gravel on top of your foundation, So like if you have 50,000 viewers right now, you better not live past the means of your 10,000 viewers that you're going to have at the end of this, right? So but yeah, that's kind of scary, honestly, thinking about like getting to the big time like that, and then falling off. Like that's got to be such a weird, like a crazy feeling,
I don't think they see it coming. Like I don't think you feel it in the time. I think you feel like you're on top of the world, and then it just kind of starts happening.
Yeah.
Where you do something that's so normal to you, but it's not okay to the higher up people, and then that's the kind of the fall off time.
Then you hit someone with a tractor, and then your career is over.
Well, he has enough money and is already back, and people love his 4-minute and 20-second vlogs again. Shout out David Dobrik. But that's also another thing that I was kind of curious about. Where do you think is like the entry point for? You're kind of talking about secret societies, so tie that back into what we're talking about. What do you think is like the entry point for like people having to start being a part of someone or looking over their shoulder, or like start getting approached by shadow people?
I don't know.
Because like we'll say someone like I don't think a streamer like I don't know Mizkif or something on Twitch, who is pretty big on Twitch, but I don't think he's a pro and makes a good amount of money. I don't think he's like in that superstardom level. I don't think any gamers really are. Like the closest thing would have to be maybe PewDiePie or Mr. Beast if you consider him a gamer. But I don't think they've been like they're in a secret society type thing. I wonder what the entry point is to where you have to start being different.
That's one thing I've come to realize, because our last episode, I was telling you about. I've been like addicted to watching like lefties argue, right?
Yeah.
And it's because I like listening to the lefty point of view or whatever. But like when you're in that, so, like Twitch is huge, but it's really not that big. You
Isn't
know what
that
I mean?
weird? I heard someone say that, and like it kind of hit me into realization.
Yeah.
Because Twitch is huge, and you see the big numbers and how many people are watching, but it's not.
Right.
And they were
Like
trying to compare it to YouTube, and it's nothing to YouTube. It's a little fly.
right. And you making moves to try and break Twitch down. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, like it's like to me like when it's lost in that where you're watching like these people and like, oh, to you they're a big deal, and like, oh, to you their ideas and aspirations is like, oh, these are huge, right? And then you realize they're talking to 10,000 people or something, right? 10,000 people
Yeah.
is less than the population of basically any like normal sized town, which is like some podunk ass town. The population's like 15,000. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's 14,000 people at the border right now, the Haitians. They're
Right.
chilling there in the
So
camps.
like he's making it, but like, and that's the same thing with like a lot of these. That's the problem that a lot of the left runs into as well, is they don't. They're. It's kind of like one of those things like your stomach's bigger than your eyes, right? Like
Yeah.
or your eyes are bigger than your stomach, rather. Where they in their big, right? But like they don't really make that much of a difference. No one's really listening to them. They're not winning elections. It's easy to sit there and think, oh, this guy does so, like, he's so like a big deal, right? And he's not. Like you can talk to, then you go talk to anyone that doesn't watch anything from that circle. They have no clue who you're talking about, right? Like,
Yeah.
I would say like Joe Rogan of like all the like podcasting like alternative media, I guess. Joe Rogan's probably like the closest to being to that level of like secret society, right?
Yeah, if anyone in that type of world would be in it, it's
But who's close to
but I
that?
don't think it is.
Who's close to that
No
level?
one.
Right. And like you don't, and I don't know if he's the type to take it, right? But
Yeah.
you can kind of see when people hit there's a, and it's going to be kind of, he's a very intense person, and he got like he his name's Owen Benjamin, right? I watched him when he was got like a comedian or whatever a while back, and then you all of a sudden you heard like he just disappeared, right? And then
Yeah.
he started his own like podcast, or not podcast, but just like stream thing, and he just talks to like a small group of people, and he talks about how and he might just be a psycho, but he talks about like he was at that point where he was like going to start mingling with the elite, and he didn't want to do that, and then they ruined his life, so you can maybe that's a way to gauge.
Well, how big was he?
Well, he was just like, I can't remember, he was I don't know, I wouldn't say he's that big, right? And I also think it probably has to do with the industry that you're in as well, like how quickly, because he was like starting to do like shows, and I mean, he might have been doing movie and stuff, but he was mainly a comedian. But he said he was just starting to hit that point where he was going to be like mingling with those people, and that might be where you kind of have to, like, in like any like secret society, you're gonna have the lackeys, right? And that might be where he was about to be. Like he was like to the outside looking in, he's probably like he would have been a big star, right? But he's not. Like he would have just been a lackey in the grand scheme of that like elite sect, like a kind of like how Scientology, like, right, you have Tom Cruise at the top of Scientology.
Yeah.
Then you have all these, everyone else, right, that's in Scientology aren't as big as him, So,
Yeah.
but they're still necessary. Like you're always going to need that grunt work for whatever you're doing. So that might be the easier way, because you're not just going to walk into being the big guy,
Well, I think if we're talking about someone that we could name that like a baseline for how popular they have to be, The only people I could think of would be like musicians
Mm.
that would be in secret society type thing.
Mm.
Because technically, like no one's doing numbers like Drake, and I don't even know. I wouldn't even see him in one. He's kind of. It's weird because he posts a lot and you see different stuff, but it's so like vague. Like it'll be him working out or him driving around or something.
Oh,
Like you don't really know anything. You don't know Drake.
right.
Or like Beyonce. You don't know anything about Beyonce. She'll post about something and that's basically it.
Right.
Like obviously I'm not meaning like everyone knows their fucking star sign and how much money people can theorize they make, but no one knows what's going on, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and that's like it's funny because people want to talk about the like how much people make, and then you hear about things like the like how like modern art is all about trafficking money, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, these people might make, and that's kind of, it's almost works like to me in my head the way the way I like visualize it. It's kind of like those coins or whatever from. Have you ever seen John Wick?
No.
Okay, so they have these coins that is like a currency that's that this assassin community uses, right? It's just like
Yeah.
like a gold coin. It's like
Like a
you want,
Bitcoin?
yeah, it's like an assassin Bitcoin basically.
It's an
But like,
NFT.
but like if you need a favor, you pay in one coin. Like he kills like 13 people, right?
Yeah.
And so to clean this up, he pays this cleanup guy 13 of these gold coins. You know, he buys
Yeah.
4 guns. He gives up 4 coins. One night stay at this like assassin's hotel, 1 coin. You know, it's stuff like that. But that's probably kind of like if that's true, the modern art thing, then that's probably how that's kind of working. You know, they're like you're trading this because you can. The thing about art is you can market as whatever value you want. I could take a shit on a canvas and sell it to some elite and be like, oh, this is worth $30 million. And they're like, okay, yeah, I'll give you $30 million for that. Then I'm the one
Yeah.
that's paying taxes on it. They have that. And then now they have like a liquid asset that they can kind of move, right? It almost becomes like a cryptocurrency, but it's money laundering, right? And I think that's why if crypto takes off, I think that's what it's going to be for. I think it's just going to be like the main source of money laundering for elite. Like that might even be what it is for Bitcoin right now, right? Because
Yeah.
that was the argument when Bitcoin first came out is there was like how like you no matter what you're backed up by the US dollar. Like how are you going to convert that? Like what is that worth really if it's not backed by the US dollar? It's worth 1 Bitcoin. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it's worth $28,000 US dollars. Okay, so it's $28,000, right? You're going to have to convert it at some point. Well, if you just have these people that are laundering money and doing illegal things, you don't need to have that currency because it's almost like a favor, really.
Well, yeah, and that's like people can, I don't know, depending on obviously I'm not involved in cryptocurrency or any of that world. A broke ass boy.
Yeah.
But it's basically which I know they're trying to kind of fight right now or whatever they're doing, an unregulated, realistically, if you want it to be untraceable currency.
Mm.
So you could do a lot with something like that, especially for elite people.
Yeah.
Like kind of like what you're saying, just invisible, trading tokens back and forth.
Right. Because it's
So
not
it's
the
kind of
value.
scary.
It's not the value of the item itself. Because you could make it. It could literally just be ball bearings or something, like a little steel ball. But if
Yeah.
you're in the secret society, it's like, oh, that steel ball is worth someone's life. Like if I give you this steel ball, it's expected that this person dies, right? That holds a lot more value. You know what I mean? And it's like then it's like, oh, or I can buy, to these people, I can have, 5, 5 of these steel balls is worth I don't know, a Bugatti Veyron or something, right? It's like, okay.
I have Beyonce's balls.
4 big. But you know what I mean? It's like it's all because that's really like, especially since we're not backed by an actual like gold standard or silver standard anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's like that. Our currency is just play money essentially, but it's just the fact that our dollar is backed up by the nastiest military in world history that we can be like, yeah, this dollar's worth that much, you know. and it's backed up by the petroleum dollar whole thing. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of scary, but yeah, like I wouldn't even be surprised if cryptocurrency came from something like that, where it's like,
It makes sense. Well, people talk about like the black market stuff or whatever,
right,
which I don't know how realistic that is with like because obviously I've seen stupid like the like kids channel esque YouTube videos where they go on the black market, quote unquote,
uh,
and they're like, I'm on the black market. I'm gonna get cheese sticks to my house or something
yeah,
fucking retarded.
it's like, dude, if you can record it, you're probably not on the black market. You know what I mean? You're probably on some
Well, like
sketchy
the
ass
stuff where they're
website.
like, yeah, I mean, exactly. Well, like that stuff, like realistically, there probably is something like that,
Mhm.
and you probably could order a hit on someone
Right.
in game.
Well, that's like if you want to, if the government wanted to shut down cryptocurrency, you best believe they would. But there's probably
Oh, I
not.
think they
It's
could
not
do
enough of a
anything.
threat yet, or they're making something off of it, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, as much as the uninvolved thing, like I said, like unregulated, they know what's going on. I'm not gonna say they can trace everything, but like there's people watching it. They're not dumb.
yeah,
They're looking at everything.
because
Everyone's always looking at everything.
that's, I don't know. Like if you go to whatever 4chan, I'm not saying kids don't do this, but if you go and you look up, like they have a
In theory.
like if you have a they have like a thing you can buy to support the um the website, right?
Yeah.
And if you but you can't, because they don't, because banks don't want to be associated with the site because of all the shit that they do, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay in cryptocurrency or some sort on this. You can't, you can't pay in US dollars on this.
Yeah, that's kind of like the thing with the huge deal with the online gambling and stuff that was going on Twitch. It's kind of weird that you can't. Obviously, people are doing like underage gambling and stuff. If you want to get through, you can't just pull up as you onto the internet, and it wasn't even legal in some places. So people were using VPNs to jump around.
Yeah.
But you have to get into all those online gambling sites with cryptocurrency, which just makes it feel like extra sketchy, you know?
Yeah, because it still has that level of like, oh, I don't know if I trust this shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's like human nature to kind of have that fear. Like you're always like on your toes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what kept us alive for so long. But I don't know, like if if you this is like it says they currently accept Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin, right?
Yeah.
But that's the easiest way to start shutting someone down, is to go after their ability to store money. If you have, because like that's like you get canceled off PayPal and Patreon. A lot of these people that are making money, like off of the internet, are shut down immediately.
Well, isn't it kind of scary?
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of scary that you could basically just get wiped?
Oh yeah.
Like, just think about the Twitter thing. Is Alex Jones banned off Twitter?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's banned. Trump's banned. Stuff like that. Like, it's weird how you can just squad wipe someone basically off the internet.
Well, Trump's the big one, right? Like,
Well, yeah, but I just recently heard that Alex Jones, like, he's probably banned, but I just recently heard about it, so I didn't
yeah.
even know that.
Oh yeah, like, well,
But
the fact that you can just wipe I mean, he's not silenced, but I mean, how much do you hear about him now? Without that avenue.
yeah, it's definitely like he's probably what's he doing now? Like, is he off YouTube and stuff?
I don't know. I know he's been
I'm sure if he's
doing
off Twitter,
rallies
he's
again,
probably off YouTube.
but
Yeah. But like it's weird though because the way I was listening to Tim Dillon's podcast before.
Mhm.
I'm not sure when this was. I just remember him talking about it. But he's like, there's that app that like I'm not gonna say famous people, a lot of like business people, managers, stuff like that, tech people. They go on. I think it's called Boardroom or something like that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's like an invite only app, and they can join rooms with each other, and it's like a Zoom, but the elite kind
Right.
of.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how they were like eventually they're kind of setting up technology and stuff to, especially with the coronavirus, it kind of makes sense in like hindsight. I'm not sure if it was during or after. They're kind of setting it up to like I mean, just look at like food delivery. I can get food to my door without leaving the house.
Mhm.
I can go to business meetings on Zoom. I can go to class on Zoom. They're kind of like the way stuff's moving and the way coronavirus keeps coming back with different variants and stuff like that. It's kind of moving toward, staying at home more, basically.
Right.
And then so it's like moving in, moving in, moving in. And then we talk about at least, the two big names or whatever that got taken off Twitter. And if you get taken off by people like Twitter, you're basically taking off everything
Mhm.
because they're all kind of correlated,
It's so
Google,
weird to
YouTube.
me. Is it the consensus on Twitter seems to be that it sucks and it's like this toxic environment, but really,
But people love it.
yeah, it's weird to me. Like I've never really been big on it. I'm not type to really go on there, but it's this weird like environment where everyone hates it, but it like is like they're addicted to it. And I don't know how
Yeah.
it happens.
I don't really know either. It kind of makes the most sense to me I'm not crazy about it, but I'll go on and scroll for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of makes the most sense out of all the social medias to me. Because Instagram realistically is pictures.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know what's big in like social media anymore. Snapchat is just people conversating, but Twitter, there's DMs for conversating, there's videos, there's feeds, there's stuff that's trending, there's news, blah 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 blah. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like an epicenter of social media content.
Yeah.
Which it's not like there's not videos on Instagram, but you know what I mean. Like it's kind of like you get everything in one.
Yeah, it's kind of like yeah, it's like a main feed for everything you do because it's like, oh, if you post something on Instagram, you can post it on there. If someone's going to follow you on one thing, I feel like that's the place to do it because you're going to be able to
Right, you'll get
all
everything
of
from
their
that
shit.
person that you're following. Exactly. It just makes sense. Twitter makes the most sense. So I feel like that's why it's popular because you can get anything and everything on it.
Right. And I don't know
But the
anything
Twitter,
about Twitter though, so it's like hard for me to really
yeah,
conceptualize it.
not really. I mean, that's like me looking in with, I don't know, 2 years on Twitter or something. It's not anything crazy. And I only follow, streams I watch or comedians and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But so cancellation on Twitter stuff, and they're making it the move toward inside. It's like if they can take you off, imagine once you're fully online and stuff.
Right. If you're fully
Everyone's indoors and
inside,
you're online.
yep.
Yeah, boom. Later, what'd you say?
There
You
you
went
go.
against what we were thinking?
Yep.
Later. And you're gone. You
Right.
literally just disappeared by them just getting you off the internet.
And that hurts both sides, like left and right. And I think that's the thing that they're failing to see. Like is this if they want to, if the left speaks out against something that they don't like maybe the government gets tired of you talking about how we need to end the homelessness crisis. See ya, banned. And if they get tired of the right talking about how they hate minorities, they can just ban you for that.
Do they talk about that all the time?
I don't know. That seems to be-
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but
I didn't. That was a joke. That was a joke.
in game.
No, but I don't know. It's just weird how like if the shift did happen, which it probably will, it just makes sense with how everything is. That you could just get squad wiped off like that.
So, yeah. But what do you do about it, right? Who are you going to go against for that? The secret society? My people, the Freemasons? Doubt it.
Yeah, exactly. I do nothing. And I keep filming these podcasts. Hey!
For Dick. Damn.
It's just a scary food for thought.
I mean, I'm following the logic. It makes sense to me that they would want to do that.
Well, isn't that weird anyway, too, that they can go in an invite only app and listen to each other talk about stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is it invite only?
Right. You think
Obviously, you don't want
would
anything,
make
but like,
of all these powerful people if you could just go in and listen to them talk? So the fact that
that's because there's a
missing
secret sauce.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're turning down an immense amount of money for this. It's probably because all the alt writers just want to go in there and say the N word around each other.
As one does.
Yeah.
No, it's weird though because the way Tim Dillon was talking about, he's talked about it a couple of times in a couple of different podcasts. But the way he talks about it, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not really big into that stuff." Obviously, he's very smart with his political stuff and he's studied all that stuff. But he's like, He's like, I kind of go in there as the court jester. Like
Yeah.
he's just the funny guy that tells occasional jokes.
Well, it sounds like it's creepy the way he describes it. It's really creepy. Like it's this weird hive mind, and like they're all just like spouting rhetoric at each other, and like but they all agree with each other. So it's like they're just talking to themselves essentially. From the way
Yeah.
he describes, I'm sure there's some disagreement on there, but like how many times can you say the N word before you should be publicly executed? Something like that, right? Like that's what I don't know, but that's the way he makes it seem.
Well, yeah, in my head, like what I picture is like big tech people or managers or whatever that are managing multiple big names
Mhm.
listening to each other, and it's like the spread. It's like the age of enlightenment within the tech and world, like the tech world and everything.
Yeah.
Like they're all spreading ideas and they're accepting them and trading them and learning different techniques and values about everything. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's what I picture.
I don't know. If well, and I don't this whole like it's hard with the tech stuff because everyone kind of copies each other, right? Like
Yeah.
was it Snapchat did stories, so everyone else started doing stories, right? So bleeding
It was
everything
like the
else.
one thing that kept a bunch of people on
And
Snapchat.
yeah, and so then like is Snapchat still big?
Yeah, it is. So everyone in my generation has Snapchat.
Okay. I mean, it's cool.
Unlike you,
Like
Boomtown.
it's fun. Well, I have one. I just don't use it.
Whatever, Boomtown. Doesn't even know how to take a picture. Awooga.
My camera's broken. Shut up. Every time I do it, it's like points at my double chin, and I don't like it, so I just don't open my camera.
I don't know. It's weird.
Do you want to wrap it up there?
Uh, Final thoughts?
Next week we're probably gonna try a different format. So just kind of be ready for that. We'll be hopefully this week. Last week I had a migraine, so hopefully this week I'll get us more set up on putting this stuff on more platforms. So
I just think it's funny how a rich person, like I think it was AOC, wore a shirt that said, or a dress that said "Eat the Rich."
yeah, I don't like that either. So she's working to eat
She
herself.
she is yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to take people like that seriously, but someone does, I guess.
Well, it doesn't make sense because all the people that say to eat the rich and spread that movement to a bunch of people and stuff, besides like obviously the smaller people spreading it that actually want to eat the rich, uh, they're all rich.
Yeah,
Like I know a big person's like obviously AOC, like I said, but another person in the gaming world, like Hassan, says stuff like that. It's
yeah.
like, dude, you're sitting there talking and you're making a shit ton of money.
You just
Shut
bought a
up.
$3 million house, but then you get into the arguments like, oh, just because I'm a socialist, that means you can't buy a $3 million house. I mean,
Oh, I don't care what he does. I'm just saying, don't do the eat the rich thing and then
right, and then be rich.
overly spend. Yeah, I don't know. Just
Yeah,
doesn't seem right.
but it's also the same. Like, if I don't know enough, maybe I should read Karl Marx's stuff because I don't know enough about socialism to really talk about it. But it seems a bit odd to me for someone who's preaching the values of the left and then buying a big house. Like, I understand it's your money, but
Isn't Karl Marx communism?
he's socialism. Anyway,
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Didn't you write the Communist Manifesto?
Let's see. Maybe you're right. All I know is that all the socialists use in socialist revolutionary. That's what it says on. I think
Yeah,
he
I don't
talks about communism, but I think
Yes.
he's kind of like he has critiques of it and socialism. He's like the father of socialism, if I remember correctly. So I think like
Okay.
he took communism and kind of was like, whoa, hey guys, like our farmers are eating their children. Let's maybe bring that back a bit, and then
I
he
thought
brought
he
it to
wanted.
socialism, which is a little like a. I don't know.
Government class did me dirty, basically.
Yeah. No, I think he was a communist, but I think he was like the birthplace of like the main head of socialism, and it's like structure. All I know is he's got nice hair and nice beard. It really flows well into each other. He's got like a lion's mane.
Well, you know what they say. Capitalism today, communism tomorrow. See you guys next week on the Bigs Podcast.
Four big guys, and they bust on my eyes.